What's really outdated yet still widely used? Every school website. People go to the website because they can't wait for the next alumni magazine, right? This is so freaking true. School websites used to be so much better when they focused on what people really needed, before they started all the fancy crap like virtual tours. After graduating in 2010, I was desperate for work and looked on my alma mater's jobs page. There was a huge photo of me and my friend that heavily implied we were employed and happy graduates. The way we apply to jobs online. Everyone is using a different system to do the same thing. You'd think there would be a better system for applying to jobs by now than to be filling out an endless amount of the same forms and multiple choice questions. Attach resume here. Please fill out these boxes, which is just typing out everything that is in the resume you just attached. Why? Can we please just stop this unnecessary repetition? Some companies have that built in their application website. When you upload your CV, it imports the data. However, it's not perfect. Was on a flight recently and was sitting next to this guy who worked on the Android spell checker among other things. He explained that Amazon used machine learning to read through your CV to determine how suitable you are for a job. The problem is that they found it became sexist and would score people lower for being female. They added in features to remove anything specifying gender before it went through the system, but it still picked up on things such as hobbies where women were more likely to be into more than men and again would score them lower. The phrase, "catch you on the flip side," it's an old phrase back from when DJs would let a vinyl play all the way through so you wouldn't hear them talk again till they had to flip it. That's a damn fine piece of trivia. Windows XP. The amount of hospital computers that use it, and older versions of Windows, is crazy, and sometimes they don't have a choice because some medical devices are only compatible with like Windows 2000 or some other OS from the 90s. Edit. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If the computer is completely isolated from any network, I agree, the computer is used for a specialized task and there is really no need to upgrade. However, the longer it stays untouched, the harder it is to maintain it. It's too expensive to do a mass upgrade of many outdated systems. Not much to say here but that it's kinda sad, and as one person pointed out, a racket. A few people have pointed out that we could use virtual machines which could give us security benefits of modern software, while still keeping compatibility with old devices. The factory I work in still runs mostly XP. For what it's used for, it's fairly bulletproof. Fax machines. Came here to say this. I have to fax stuff out to doctors' offices and other hospitals daily at work. A lot school books and supplies. When I went to school, we had world maps that still contained countries that hadn't existed for a decade. In the office at my last job, we had a world map on the wall that still had the USSR on it. It was framed and hung essentially as art. Granted, we still used 8-inch floppy disks in that office as well. The Space Jam website hasn't been updated since it was released. Actually, fascinatingly, their security certificates have been kept up to date. Someone is still maintaining it. Some deep subdivision of Warner Brothers. One forgotten IT guy, somewhere deep within a basement, likely. Maybe he dwells in the server room. Maybe his name is Richmond Avenel. Maybe he gets paid $120K a year and no one remembers him. Everyone has forgotten him, and all he does is update the certs. Internet Explorer. I had a spat with someone at an online Scrabble site. I am like the only player in their 20s. We were talking about browsers and they claimed IE was the most popular browser in the UK. I sent them proof that refuted this and she blocked me. LOL. Popular as in people who don't know the alternatives use it exclusively, as it comes with Windows. Or at least used to. All those old corporate website systems that only load in IE compatibility mode. Social security numbers. Why do I have a static generated number that is given to me that I am told not to give out, but at the same time anyone that pays me needs it to report taxes? On top of that, you can't get a bank account, house, rental or mortgage, phone, or any line of credit without it. If anyone gets their hands on it, which is easy, then you are fucked. That person basically has your life's password. Why don't they do one-time codes? Just let you either go on the site or have one mailed that you can keep on hand, or even a batch of them, then if someone tries to reuse it, it will get rejected. There are several ways to add a layer of verification onto it, but they don't. On top of that, a lot of places use last four of social to validate you, which also means hardly anything. And while we're at it, can we please stop using public info, previous addresses, family names for verification? That makes security worse. If a password fails, then you let them in anyway via info they can look up. It used to be just as a number assigned to you for social security benefits, then it got morphed into what it is today. In some states it used to be your driver's license number. In the military it's on your dog tags as an I number. On college they fired almost the entire catering and cafeteria staff because they all use the same SSN. It's not secure and doesn't ID anyone. You can get a job with an easily forged social security card and birth certificate. It was also promised your SSN would never be a national identifier. Oops. Says it right on the card. Do not use this as a form of identification. To your last point, make a list of fake answers. You'll reuse them so you remember them, but they aren't real so no one can guess. The US military still uses 8-inch floppy disks on outdated IBM computers to run the nuclear missile systems. It's because they are incredibly hard to hack. The computers are essentially air-gapped, and the old IBM computers are reliable. If the military has extra parts and 8-inch floppy disks to transfer the data to avoid degradation, then there's no reason as to why they can't use the same tech to run the system for another 40 years. And also, updating carries risks of bugs. In 1983, the Soviets had a new radar system that reported US nuclear missiles bound for the USSR. Turns out it was an error caused by sunlight bouncing off clouds. If the radar operator hadn't figured out that it wasn't real, we might all be dead. Stanislav Petrov was his name. Graphing calculators in high school math and above. Damn, I miss my TI-89, best calculator ever. I'm in Calc 3 and differential equations. Still using the same TI-84 from 11th grade. A lot of rural railways in the UK still use Victorian-era semaphore signals and tokens to ensure train safety. At the same time, we've retrofitted an entire line in Mid-Wales with the latest European cab signaling system. Pretty sure that's more for tradition than anything else. Might also be. It exists and costs money to replace, but works fine. Personally, I think they're cool. Not tradition, but cost savings. If a rail line has a system that works for their light traffic levels, is reliable, and doesn't cost much to operate or maintain, they'll keep using it. Only when the expense of the new tech becomes less than the old will they upgrade. The US ACH, Automated Clearing House, Electronic Funds Transfer System. The same architecture that was used to build the system in the 70s is still in use today. And it still closes down for the weekends to coincide with bank hours. Modern computers don't need to close on the weekends. It seems to me that the banks like this arrangement so they can use the money over the weekend. In other words, it's for the bank's enrichment, and no benefit to the consumer. If they could figure out how to make more money than this scheme on a 24/7 system, they'd do it immediately. This is exactly what it is. Financial institutions have zero interest in changing this system even though it does nothing but inconvenience the customer. Settlement days, until funds are available, are ultimately just the number of days they get to earn interest on your money. It's not a big deal to anyone on an individual basis, but they very much enjoy collectively robbing the country of its overnight interest. Fireworks. I mean, nuclear weapons have been around for ages now. Daylight saving time. Incandescent lights. If I'm doing my math correctly, LEDs use 10% of the energy of them, and they last much, much longer. Incandescent are simply still cheaper to purchase. People are bad at seeing savings over time, or really forward-thinking in general. Until LEDs are as cheap as a 99-cent bulb and can still light up the room and last as long, they won't be eliminated. The educational system. The +4 method of measuring bra sizes. Edit, for those who don't know, it's the method a lot of shops use to make women fit into a lot smaller selection of bras, by adding 4 inches on to your underbust measurement. E.g. if you measure 28 inches under bust and 34 inches over bust, you should be wearing a 28E. But if a shop like Marks & Spencer's or Victoria's Secret measured you, they'd add 4 inches and put you in a size more like a 32B. This allows shops to stock a smaller range of sizes but means that most women are wearing wrongly sized bras. A DD cup is in fact not that large. Most DD women you see are more likely a GGGH cup. Jumping onto this comment to add, gendered shoe sizing. It's incredibly stupid. Ladies' shoe size equals men's shoe size plus 2. So, for example, a men's size 7 shoe is a women's size 9. There is absolutely no reason for this that I can discern. Women's pants too. Why are men's pants based on length and inseam, but women's pants sizes are just numbers of no significance? Depending on the brand, I can wear anywhere for a size 4 to a size 12. But I can measure my waist and inseam and get exactly what fits if I go online and looks at the sizing chart and figure out what size is the closest. It's inefficient and makes no sense. Pagers, I think doctors still use it. And pretty much all EMS personnel. Has to do with the frequency at which they operate. Penetrates into deep concrete labyrinths. Unlike cell phones. I'm a firefighter and I use one every day. They're actually still very useful in that aspect. Towels, man, what the fuck? We've been using this shit for fucking millennia and no one has come up with something better. The only alternative right now is those weird warm air domes. I don't know what to call them. Rich people have, but I'd guess they're pretty expensive. Fuck, I hate being forced by the towel monopoly. Isn't the standard toilet like more than 100 years old? I think with our technology now it could get a lot of upgrades. It's a chair you connect to a pipe. What do you want to do? Shit into a drone that flies your poop up to the sun? The Japanese are way ahead of you. What is really outdated yet still widely used? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.